video is about books. I want to talk about my book recommendations and why I love to read and the importance of books, and just give you some recommendations where you could find like really cheap books, you know. But first let me talk about me. It's been an exciting week. It's a very positive week. I'm at the end of ending something that, you know, it's just time for me to end. I'm in the process of starting something new, and I'm very, very excited about that. And it's just, you know, the transition has just been a little very interesting. I will get to more of that in details later on. But summer is officially here in New York. It is super hot today. And yeah, but that's been me. I just been working, you know, doing me, and I just have to, you know, keep on working. And then more on that, on my transition, on the changes, I'm gonna tell you more about that later on. Right now, you know, we're still like in the developing process of it, but everything's all well, and I am doing everything that I always really wanted to do. So let's get started. So this week, like I said, is books. If you follow my Instagram, if you follow all my social media accounts, I love to read. I love to eat, but I love to read. I'm an avid reader. I've always been. How it started, so when I was younger, my parents will punish me, but my dad would, and then he will make me read a book. Like, you have to read the book, and then you have to write a book report about it. That'll be my punishment. And then that's when I started reading books. Like, it was like, and that's how I started really improving in my reading skills. I always did very well on my reading classes, and I even was part of the spelling bee in 6th grade. But that's how it started. I think I read all of Judy Blume's books. That's how it started. And then, you know, once you get to your teen years, you know, you start with your romantic books. And then, you know, I read all the hood books. You know, they were interesting at that time. I don't think I'll read them now. But as I was getting into my 20s, I was really interested in more like spiritual, personal development, a lot of entrepreneur stuff, and also, yeah, and a lot of other things. My favorite type of books, I read a lot of non-fiction books. I love history books. I rarely read fiction books. I used to a lot, but I'm more like a non. I really like to learn about things and discover new things. Like, I'm getting into climate change and the importance, how can you incorporate that into your business. I'm reading about that. And, you know, the power of reading, like, knowledge is power. You just learn things, you be like, damn, you know. And it's just like, if you're really trying to go into personal development and really trying to do that right now, reading is very essential. It will definitely help you. And I would definitely give you some book recommendations that helped me when I was coming up, you know, or whatever you want to call it. So some of my book recommendations I recommend is my number one book that I recommend to everybody. Like, everybody, I recommend this book, is Don Miguel Ruiz, the Four Agreements. I love this book because I remember when the first time I read this book, it was actually my brother-in-law that sent it to me. He sent it to me on, like, by email in a PDF format. And at the time I was just like, you know, I was still very negative. I was just going through a lot of turmoil, you know, mentally. And my brother-in-law, he sent me this book, and I started reading it, and oh my god, I loved everything about it. It was just like, everything that he said was just like, oh shit. And then one of his agreements, I don't want to, if you have never read this book, I'm not gonna really just tell you all of it. I'm just gonna tell you something. But the power of the 4 agreements is about 4 agreements that is like you gotta follow through life, you know. And he breaks down every single one of them. It was actually Ellen DeGeneres actually recommended it to Oprah, and then Oprah, that was the first book that Oprah gave her girls back in her school in Africa. You know, that book is amazing. One of the agreements that, as soon as I read it, I lived by that agreement. Your word. Your word is your bond. Your word is everything. It's like, you gotta keep your word. So when he was breaking it down, I was like, what? That is so true. You know what I mean? Your word means everything, because it's like, if you don't stay true to your word, nobody's ever gonna trust you. That's how you're never gonna build relationships. So when I read that to me, that struck a chord to me, and it definitely changed everything, the way that I was doing at the time, the you know, my career, you know, my relationship with people and stuff like that. So yeah, that's one of those things. So that book I definitely recommend. And I don't know a lot of people that have read it, but if you haven't read it, buy that book. And I would definitely give you recommendations of where to get that book. Another book that I definitely recommend that is personal development. For me, if you know my story, maybe I'll discuss more in detail. You know, I've had a lot of like issues. I have a lot of mental health issues. Like I had a lot of anxiety attacks. I went through depression for 10 years on and off. I had my first anxiety attack at the age of 23 on my 23rd birthday. Right after my first anxiety attack, I was introduced to this book by Eckhart Tolle, called The Power of Now. Basically, it means that you got just be present. And that, to me, that was the big issue, because I was very impatient just to get there. I was just thinking so much into the future that it was just like I wasn't enjoying the moment. That's one thing. If I could go back and redo everything, I would love to enjoy the process, which that's what I'm doing right now. I'm enjoying all the process of everything that I'm doing right now, and I'm just living in the moment. You know what I mean? I'm not rushing anything. Eventually, everything was gonna fall into place. You know what I mean? And that book just helped me. It was like the start of the beginning of like my spiritual journey as well, and as well as it helped my mind opened up to new things. You know what I mean? Everything, when I was reading that book, I was like putting everything into perspective, everything that was going on in my life. You know what I mean? It took some time. You know, I read it twice. The first time I was just like, what? You know, I didn't get it. Second time it was amazing. But I definitely recommend the author Eckhart Tolle. He's like a spiritual teacher. Oprah recommended him. They actually did a master class like a few years back when she still had her show. I definitely recommend that book, and I'm putting more links about his books, and also about Don Miguel Ruiz. Another book that I recommend is actually my favorite author of all times. It's Ellie Wisel, his Night. It's like a biography, like a memoir sort of thing. It's basically describing his time in the camps, in the concentration camps. You know, he's a Holocaust survivor. Rest in peace. He just died, I think, earlier this year or like late last year. And he was amazing. He's an amazing person, and he was an amazing person. You know, rest his soul. It just really describes his time, you know, in the concentration camp. He just goes in there and just be like, wow. You know, it's just books like that, like, I love, you know, that just open up my eyes. Another book that I like is actually about hip-hop. I'm from New York, born and raised. I grew up around hip-hop, a lot of it. And one book that I definitely recommend is called Can't Stop, Won't Stop. I actually picked up this book on one day on my way back to my old college in Lehman in the Bronx, and there was a bookstore there, and then I decided just to walk around that bookstore, and then I found that book, and I was just like, Can't Stop, Won't Stop. You know, what is it about? It's about the history of hip-hop. Not for nothing, the first time I read it, it took me like 6 months to finish it, because the book is like this thick, but it would definitely break down like the history of hip hop, like break it down. I remember like when MTV Raps was around. I was like 6 years old. You know, we used to have a babysitter. Her daughter used to watch MTV all the time. So that's how I was introduced to hip hop. You know what I mean? The first video I ever saw was Biggie and L Cool J, Flavor in Your Ear. That was the first video, first ever hip hop song I ever heard. You know, so that book is definitely would tell you great detail the history of hip hop and why hip hop is the way it is. Another book that is really good that just came out like a few years back, there was even a documentary about it, is The Tanning of America, which really good book, which is about how hip hop has influenced American culture, which it has influenced a lot. Hip hop started as this like movement, and it grew into this corporation, which is true. You know what I mean? And just it will definitely give you the knowledge about why is hip hop the way it is. You know, because there's still, even all these years, there's still controversy over it. But yeah, definitely recommend those books. What other books I recommend? The Seed of the Soul. I read this book because Oprah was always. Oh, by the way, Oprah's my best friend in my head, so I always go through her book, Oprah's book club website. Love it, amazing. So she's always been recommending this. So I saw that actually on one of her Super Soul Sundays episode, and she speaks about it like so, like, I was just like, let me just buy it, you know what I mean? And I bought it, and just once again it just helped me, and I found a new perspective on it. What other books I've read? The Art of War. I read that years back. That's more like, it would definitely like open up. Like, I had certain books I had to read it twice in order for me to understand it, just because the first time I didn't really understand. But what else? Currently, what are my current books I'm reading? I'm actually doing a 2017 reading challenge right now. I'm trying to read 50 books by the end of the year. What book am I up to? I forgot, but I like wrote it down somewhere. But my book that I just finished reading, it took me like less than a week because I was so into that book that it was amazing. It's actually this one right over here, Self-Made by Nely Galan. With the name of it, like, you would think, oh, self-made. She probably came up herself and made her own money. Yeah, it's that too. But it's also self-made, like yourself. That's what it's about. She's a Latina, just like me, so definitely. She's Cuban. She's a Cuban immigrant, which I love. And it's about, like, you having responsibilities for yourself. You self-making yourself. You want something, you have to go get it. Build your own empire. Build yourself. Don't rely on people. Learn not just power. And she's really going after not just women, but also like minority women. You know, there's a sector there that we definitely need to fill, that we really need to move forward. Like, we have been moving for this, way more women entrepreneurs nowadays, but we need to do better. We need to have more knowledge. We need to, we need to incorporate technology, which she talks about, like the ways like we are moving, this world moving so fast thanks to technology, and a lot of people are still very naive about how to use certain things, you know what I mean? So this book right here, I definitely recommend. This is like, I think this is my 2017 book recommendation. Definitely recommend. I love this book. Another book that I just picked up it cost $6 only, is Suze Orman, Women and Money. How I picked this book up, it was actually, she recommended it in this book, like, hey, read this book, because her and Suze Orman are really great friends. So she's like, hey, this book of Women and Money is really really good, so please read it if you're really trying to be financially responsible and get financial discipline, just learn more about money. Yeah, I picked this book. Suze Orman is like, it's a financial advisor. She really more financial advisor to women. Like, she could advise anybody, but she's mostly dedicated to women. I just picked it up, and I'm gonna start reading it probably today or tomorrow. There it is, and I picked it up, and it only cost me like $6. I don't know if you guys see, like, the lights is like, oh, there it is, Women and Money, there it is. It only was like $6, which is great. And I got it at the used books section. What else? Not only do I read books, but I also read magazines that I enjoy. Like, for example, I just picked up these two magazines. Gary Vaynerchuk. I love him. I watch his YouTube videos all the time, and I listen to his podcast all the time. And this one, Forbes. I read Forbes all the time. Forbes is like my #1 magazine. books that I'm currently interested in reading more is more like about women entrepreneurship and money. That's why I picked up this book. I also picked up another book, which is actually the author from Can't Stop, Won't Stop, which is this one, Who We Be by Jeff Chang. He's like the guy that wrote Can't Stop, Won't Stop. I picked it up because it was real cheap. It was only like less than $10. It was $9. And it looks to me is really about civil rights in America. Like basically our civil rights, like my generation. It's not like the previous generation, because we definitely going through something major right now. I definitely wanted to pick this place up. Like I said, I like more nonfiction books. I'm really into right now climate change. I'm into women entrepreneurship. I'm learning every single day about it. And money. Maybe that will come in later posts, but throughout my 20s, I had a lot of financial difficulties as well as health difficulties. I'll talk to you about that more later. I haven't really spoken more about money because I just feel like I don't have enough knowledge about it, because I've still been through my own difficulties, but I have been through my own difficulties. But read books. Books are so, because it's like it's just opening your mind. Just get off your phone and pick up a book, or else like Kindle. Kindle has an unlimited for $10 a month, and you could read a book if you can, like if you don't want to like use paper. iBooks, electronic books are cheap too. Another place that I recommend that I fight for a lot is public libraries. Libraries are essential. We're living in such a fast pace where everybody's going online to get their stuff. And the libraries, we might lose them. I mean, I don't feel like we need to lose them, because libraries are still great resources. They provide great resources. Some people, even though we live in an age that you feel that everybody has a computer, some people don't have a computer at home because they can't afford like internet. You know what I mean? And the libraries provide free internet, free library card, and you could borrow books for like 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. You know what I mean? So I say, go to the library. The library will have books there that you'll be like, damn. Other places that I like, I always go on the book hunt. Is the Strand bookstore. My old boss used to work there for 25 years, and she's a book lover just like I am, so she will always give me like books that are really cheap. And then also the Strands. I also have a bookstore there's a bookstore around my neighborhood called Word Up Books. Super cheap. You can find a book for like $4 or $2, which that's my thing. And that bookstore has been there around for 6 years. How that bookstore started, it was a lack of bookstores that we needed. So it started more like a fundraiser, like they hire space, they were just books, and they've realized that, oh shit, people want a bookstore around here. They don't want to travel downtown, get a bookstore. And they opened up a bookstore. They did a crowd, like I think they did like a GoFundMe account fund. And then so now the bookstore is actually run by volunteers there, and it's awesome. I'll put the link down where you can find that. There's another new bookstore actually in the Bronx that is opening up. They did a GoFundMe account. It's called the Lit Bar. It's actually incorporating books, a bookstore with like drinking wine, which I love to do that. So yeah, that's what I did. I'm gonna put links down to more bookstores. I know that people like to go online, Amazon. I remember when I was in college, I used to buy textbooks for like a penny. But I always say support your local bookstores. Go on the hunt. You will always find a bookstore like that. You'll be like, damn, I didn't know this existed. Pick up a book. Even if you don't want to pick an electronic book, buy electronically. You got iBooks. You got Kindle. You got Nook. There's a lot of other. The public library has as a reading app as well. You know what I mean? There's a lot of free. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of things you can get for free too. You just gotta know. The power of reading is essential. Oh, another book that I just finished is called Charlemagne's of God's book. The radio personality. His book just made me. It just made me open up more about my career. And how I stay and why, you know, and also like where I'm at right now in my life as far as my career. That book helped me with that book helped me like think about more things, what direction I need to go. So yeah, that's it, guys. That is it for us today. And I'm gonna put the links for more books, that there's way more books than this that I could think about. And I hope you guys enjoyed your week and enjoy this video, and you know, click the like button, subscribe to this video. I drop a video every Monday. I do it every Monday to help everybody start the new week. I try to drop it every morning, and you know, but please subscribe. I'm gonna put my my social media handles all at the bottom. Okay, so talk to you soon.